What are you, a baby? There's a baby there. There's a baby. Oh no. Hello. And then there I was and said, hello. Good morning, Bear Nation. Look at all the people. There's people here. So many beautiful people. So good. We're going to build a wall of people. What are you doing? What are you doing, Squish? We're going to read the brief. Yeah, we're very excited for today's news. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's Friday, the 15th of November, 2024. Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. We're going to read the brief today, written brief, and we're going to read the national intel as sent in by y'all, intel@bearindependent.com. You guys know the drill. The show is brought to you by Yahweh, your Elohim, the Lord your God, the fine people over at refugemedical.com, for whom I'm the founder, CEO, and chief shilling officer. Yeah. And this baby as well. Brought to you by this baby. And the fine people at Patreon, the economic engine of the Bear Nation. Whoa, I know. We just did our Patreon live stream last night. Yeah, we did. Whoa, you cannot get in the computer. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. You're going to cancel the live stream. Oh, Mom, we're live. We're doing it. We're doing it. Thanks, Ma. Oh, goodness.
Say bye-bye, Daddy.
Jill Squish. Whoa. Bye. Be bye. So beautiful. I'll see you later. Maybe. Maybe, baby. Oh, subscribe, ring the little bell icon, do all that stuff. If you're interested in 8-month-olds presenting the news, then boy, do we have a show for you. As if this year's news couldn't get any weirder, President-elect Donald Trump has announced in a statement published on social media that he's tapped Elon Musk and former pharmaceutical executive Vivek Ramaswamy. Swami Mommy, but giant, big head Indian. He's got so many brains, like a walnut. If you take a walnut and rub it on your brain, it makes you very smart. It's good for your skin. Everybody tells me. Doge, beautiful Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. Presumably a brand new department that's intended to be the Manhattan Project of its time, creating a drastic change via major cuts to bloated bureaucracy. Axios described the announcement with this gem, quote, "The statement left unanswered all kinds of major questions about an initiative that is uncertain in seriousness but potentially vast in scope," end quote. Previously, Musk had said at a Trump rally that he believed the government budget could be slashed by at least $2 trillion. Now, the government's annual budget is somewhere in the neighborhood of $6.7 trillion, which is interesting because if you were to take all of the wealth of the top 1% in the world and stack it up and add it up all together, that equates to that individual wealth, that equates to approximately $2 trillion. The government's budget per year is $6.7 trillion, which just commentary here just illuminates the fact that taxes are not about funding the government. Taxes are about keeping you in the appropriate economic status as deemed by your governing authorities. It's about keeping you down underneath the thumb of the man, not about who's going to build the roads or whatever dumb statist argument you can come up with regarding the reason why we should all pay our fair share in taxes. Good morning, Jake Tripp. So Musk said you can cut the government budget by at least $2 trillion, and Vivek Ramaswamy has plans to scrap the Department of Education check, which founded in 1980, 1982. I think if we're just going to compare If we're going to do a cost benefit analysis on the Department of Education, are people more or less educated now than they were? Mm, I don't know. Anybody here speak Greek? Speak Latin? Anybody here actually know history? Like, in spite of the fact that, I'm not your own individual research or endeavors. Like, were you taught this in school? No, no. Malacca, says Dirty Roof. Malacca. All right. Sounds a lot like malarkey. So Ramaswamy wants to scrap the Department of Education, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the IRS. Oh no, not that. Please, not the Internal Revenue Service. They're just amazing. Those folks over there. I think again, sidebar. I think public sentiment against the IRS. Now, me personally, admitting my biases here, you guys and girls know where I stand on this. Uh, but I think public sentiment, perhaps just from my own little echo chamber, because I'm basically surrounded by entrepreneurial people in Oklahoma. The IRS can go pound sand. It can just wither and die for all I care about. Richard Cranium said taxes are gay. I agree. The toe cutter Nick said taxes are gay. Yeah, what's up, Iridium Group? So the IRS and the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Why? They're doing such a good job. They've done such a good job here lately. Correct, Raincat. The IRS was never intended to be permanent. Was it Reagan who said nothing is longer lived than a temporary government program? Yeah. We can get rid of the ATF as well, says Organ Donor. I agree. I agree completely with that. And the whole ass NFA while we're at it. All of it. I think if you can afford an F-16, you should be able to have one, or an M1 Abrams or whatever. Yeah. Just me personally. What's up, 12C? In Ramaswamy's words, quote, in many cases, these agencies are redundant relative to functions that are already performed elsewhere in the federal government, end quote. Elon Musk himself has said that these efforts would, quote, necessarily involve some temporary hardship, end quote, and that the combination of budget cuts along with mass deportation would cause an economic storm. That's good. We need another economic storm. Now, remember that Musk, when he bought then named Twitter, fired approximately 90% of the staff and maintained functionality of that platform while rebranding to X, which me personally, from a brand standpoint, I think is one of the worst brand names I've ever heard. Especially because for a year, everybody that mentioned X had to say X, formerly known as Twitter. It's kind of like when Prince rebranded to that symbol, and it was like the artist formerly known as Prince. Well, that's a lot harder to say than just Prince. But I digress. However, it should be noted that Trump said this Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, anyone, would operate outside the government and finish its work by mid-2026. Perhaps it's just an advisory board, an honor meant to pacify those appointed to it, or would it function more like a lobbying group? How much would it cost to fund DOGE? How would it be funded? And more importantly, how much reach, power, and influence will it actually have? Right now, no one actually has any answers to this. Elon Musk is obsessed with the letter X. The Roman numeral 10. What does that mean? What does it mean tactically, Torah? I don't know. This bizarre turn of events only serves to further cement fears of the United States oligarchic elements dwarfing its more stabilizing democratic republic elements. Fears from who, though? Reuters summed up the concerns. Quote, Elon Musk sees all regulations as getting in the way of his business and innovation. That's inaccurate based upon interviews I've heard with Elon Musk. And instead of tweets, they're now excrements. That's funny. He doesn't see all regulation as getting in the way. I will tell you this, just in the manufacturing sector, Refuge Medical, we manufacture things. We make first aid kits here in the United States of America. There are about 12 million people engaged in manufacturing in the United States of America, and there are about 24 million government employees in the United States of America. And so there's two government bureaucrats for every one person making something in America. That's a problem, if you ask me. Um, I have a friend who's been in town who is on a special mission to go talk to the Environmental Protection Agency to explain to the EPA that asphalt cannot be any greener. It cannot have a lower economic or a lower um, environmental impact than it already has. And I was talking to this friend. I was like, "Do they even understand how asphalt is made? Like, it's literally liquefied dinosaurs, asterisk, sprayed over the top of crushed rock." Uh, X stands for Osiris Rising. Does it Kentucky Ag? I mean, I got to be honest, Kentucky Ag. It's things like that where I'm like, meh, meh. X10 is referred to King Solomon to a mason, right? If you guys want to play those games, you're more than welcome to do that. Um, my question is, how are those beliefs serving you? And what can you do about it? Jupiter Mojo, here we go. Is X a reference to King Solomon, a Mason? Just because the Masons revere King Solomon doesn't mean that they get to own the story of Solomon. Okay. Osiris rising. Is Osiris actually rising? It all goes back to Egyptian worship and Mitzrayim, who were the traditional enemies of the father's chosen people. Okay, what are you doing about that? How is that belief actually serving you? Or could it be that X is an undefined variable in mathematics and that Elon Musk is an autistic nerd? Might it be that? Could it be that? It's possible. Well, you see, Bear, he doesn't even know what he's doing because the unclean spirits are guiding his hands as he does all these things. Maybe. What are you doing about it? How is that belief serving you? Because if the answer is it's just a talking point that if it's just a talking point that one espouses on the internet, that doesn't really help anybody now, does it? Reuters summed up the concerns, quote, Elon Musk sees all regulations as getting in the way of his business and innovation. Disagree. Although there's way too many regulations when it comes to business, which is actually stifling innovation, which is one of the cornerstones that the United States of America was built on. It cost me, and we are a small company, especially compared to anything that Elon does. It cost me tens of thousands of dollars to research, develop, test, and evaluate a single new product. Tens of thousands of dollars invested on the front end in order to be able to bring something to market. The OpFac, plate carrier, whatever. And that's just little old me with a sew shop and some tourniquets in Oklahoma. I'll give you another example. One of the things I would love to see more of are more Committee on TCCC recommended windlass tourniquets or tourniquets in general that actually work. There aren't very many. There's like there's 7 that are technically recommended by the Committee on TCCC, but there's 2 that are the top 2, the Cat Gen 7 and the Soft T Gen 5. And they're both excellent. But there should be 100 of them so that instead of every tourniquet that hits the market starts at $32, No, we got a $16 option that's not made in China that works just as well. That'd be great. Hillbilly Homesteader said wound care buckets for the win. Thank you. 100%. And so just in my little industry, like, dealing with the FDA, right? Because you have to have the FDA has to approve things. Um, why has Quick Clot gotten harder to get and more expensive? Because the FDA is in process of reclassifying all forms of Quick Clot, Hemocon and Celox and all the other hemostatics as prescription only. Why? So that they can centralize that product inside of the massive air quote healthcare apparatus and insurance apparatus in the United States of America. Because Teleflex, when they got bought out by private equity, decided that they arbitrarily wanted to double the cost of Quick Clot. And in order to be able to do that, they need to be able to bill insurance companies for it. A little insider baseball. That's stupid. That's collusion. And by the way, I'll just David McPherson. Yes, I get this question all the time. Bear, have you seen the Snake Staff Small TQ? Not TCCC rated yet, but looks good. In its current iteration, David, it is my supposition that it will never be TCCC recommended. I have broken a couple dozen of the Snake Staff Systems tourniquets. Now, again, let me be clear. As all the politicians say. I want as many good tourniquets on the market as possible. Snake Staff makes two models of tourniquet. One is an inch wide, the other is an inch and a half wide. The inch wide one I would not use because it does not conform to Committee on TCCC recommendations. You need a minimum of an inch and a half wide so that you're not causing nerve damage when the tourniquet is applied. Okay, so this is an inch and a half wide. This is a Cat Gen 7. So that 1 inch wide tourniquet already, and they say, well, it's for emergency use, to which I reply, no shit. All tourniquets are for emergency use. That's what they're for. So the inch wide one, no, not interested at all. In my brain, doesn't exist. Not an option. Get rid of it. That leaves the inch and a half wide one, which is the same price and the same size as a Gen 5 soft T. Same price, same size, $30, $32. Same width, same profile. I own several of them. I've broken, and here's the final point, I've broken 24 of them in training. So the inch and a half wide one is the only, in my mind, viable option. The 1 inch doesn't exist because it's going to cause nerve damage. We know that from the Committee on TCCC and tens of thousands of uses of windlass tourniquets during the global war on terror. And then later on the TECC side, Tactical Emergency Casualty Care side, through medical providers and the civilian network of providers here in the United States of America. So the 1 inch tourniquet doesn't matter. That leaves the inch and a half. The inch and a half is the same size and the same cost as the Gen 5 soft T without any of the white paper data or the tens of thousands of uses in actual scenarios, actual use cases. So we don't have the data on it, which is why it's not Committee on TCCC recommended. And here's the final thing. We have personally broken, I bought 24 of them for refuge training to put through a training class. And they didn't survive a training class, not one class. Whereas I have blue Cat trainer tourniquets and blue soft tees that have been used for years inside of class. And when we provided that information back to Snake Staff, their general response, to summarize, was pound sand. We're not interested in any feedback. Well, wait a minute. I want as many good tourniquets, and the market wants as many good tourniquets as possible out there. And it has the potential to be a great tourniquet, but not if it breaks. And their response was, well, it's designed for emergency use, not for training. Okay. So's the Glock on my hip. The Glock on my hip is designed for emergency use. But if I don't train with it, how am I supposed to be able to use it effectively when there's an emergency? So I'm not a fan. Now that being said, I would like to be a fan. I would love to see a Gen 2 of the Snake Staff systems that remediates all of the problems that we've illuminated through just training with them at Refuge Training. And I would love it if the company would receive critical feedback, not because I want to piss in their Cheerios, but because I want the product to work when people need it. So, like, I know this one works. This is a Cat Gen 7, which is why we include these in our kits, right? I can do this right now on camera with you, and I know it's going to work. That being said, I also know that North American Rescue and TACMed have both been bought out by private equity firms in the last 18 months. And they've cornered the market with their tourniquet products for years. And I would love to see anybody else produce a committee on TCCC recommended windlass tourniquet that's not the Sam XT that you need a wheelbarrow to carry around because it's gigantic. Iridium Group said they are unfortunately a solution looking for a problem that already has solutions. 100%. Mark that time, sir. Yeah, 7:34 a.m. Central. Okay, so I'm not a massive fan of the Snake Staff Systems ETQ, although I would like to be. And this is not me slandering their good name. None of this is libel. This is all based upon our experiences, which have been documented and provided to them for constructive feedback, which they were unwilling to receive. How long can you keep a tourniquet on? Well, Bob, if you come to class or you come to the webinar this weekend, you go to the training tab at refugemedical.com, click the training tab, refugemedical.com, find the webinar, tune into the webinar, which is this Sunday. And if you can't make it this Sunday, it will be live for 24 hours afterwards, so you can watch it at your leisure. Good morning, Doug. You'll note that there's a block of instruction in there on how long can you keep a tourniquet on. The general consensus in the field is 2 to 4 hours, no problem. However, the longest documented application of a Gen 7 Cat tourniquet is 19 hours from Eastern Afghanistan to Grafenberg, Germany. 19 hours with no resultant issues from having the tourniquet on. It used to be taught life over limb. You only apply a tourniquet when somebody's going to lose their life because they will lose their limb. And with older tourniquets, before COTC, Committee on TCCC, started recommending tourniquets, that was the case because they were too narrow. And so that would cause cell damage, nerve damage, and you could lose the limb because of that. The other thing to understand is that your arm and your leg, your extremities where tourniquets are going to be applied, are made of a different type of material than your organs are. Your organs begin cell death when they immediately when they lose blood flow, because blood is an oxygen delivery device. No oxygen to the organs, they start to die like that fast. However, the meat of your extremities can go hours and hours and hours without oxygen, without blood flow to your extremities. Because the Father's super cool and he made us awesome. And that's one of the awesome features of a human being. So the idea that you're going to lose a limb due to a tourniquet is old doctrinal thinking that's been completely disproved by the Committee on TCCC. Not one person has lost a limb due to a tourniquet since the implementation of COTC guidelines. They've lost limbs due to the injuries that required a tourniquet. However, what happens when advanced medical care is no longer available due to Teotawaki, 2 to 4 days? Well, that's called a tourniquet conversion, which is why you should be on the webinar this weekend, or you should be watching the free trauma medicine playlist here at this channel. I have taught all these things 1,000 times. Greene County Agro, $5. Awesome lesson on tourniquets. Thank you. We actually do this. Like I don't have to get in front of the camera and pontificate and stumble and stammer and you see, like, we actually do this. We've trained 5,000 people to date with Refuge Training in class sizes of about 20 students per class. Do the math on that. So we've trained a lot of people. A lot of our people who are instructors are eminently qualified. Some of these instructors, when they start teaching, I'm like, whoa, slow down. Even I don't understand what you're talking about right now. Explain it like we're five. Back up. So we have some guys and girls that are very, very, very seasoned in combat medicine who are instructing. And I think our particular gifting is be able to take these mastery level concepts and boil them down to bare bones basics like, hey, we got to keep the blood inside the body and we got to maintain respirations. Here's how we do that. Okay. It's the same reason anaerobic exercises don't ruin your muscles. That's a good word, 12C. There you go. Bear better be in the American Academy. I don't even know what the American Academy is. Okay. So, Senior Chief didn't lay it out any better. Copy. And the other thing, Chicken Farmer Plus, we're getting emergency medical training so you don't have to worry about advanced medical care not being available. I agree with that completely. And I would add, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Like, don't do dumb things. What do I do if I get shot in the apocalypse? Well, let's start with don't get shot, apocalypse or not. We just start with that. Huh, what a concept. All right. So, Doge. Per Reuters, Elon sees the Trump administration as a vehicle for getting rid of as many regulations as he can so he can do whatever he wants as fast as he wants, end quote. And that quote comes from Reuters. Musk contributed at least $119 million to a pro-Trump spending group and joined him on rallies, and with good reason. His companies can seriously benefit from government subsidies, policy, and reduced regulation. All companies can seriously benefit from that. This relationship between Musk and Trump in particular may set the stage for a future relationship between private industry and government in the United States, which naturally would have meaningful cascading impacts throughout both. Best advice ever, don't get shot. Yeah, we want to avoid that as much as possible. Don't get shot. We want to avoid that as much as possible. Now, if violence happens, and I would submit to you, most people are going to be in or around a car wreck, and those are very violent. Also, I cannot feel my left hand anymore. I got this one on good. Violence is not just shot, stabbed, blown up. It can be a workplace injury. Many lives have been saved with refuge kits, workplace injuries, workplace accidents, motor vehicle accidents. Yeah, I mean, bleeding control. You have the same physiology, regardless of whether you're on the battlefield or you're driving down the highway. You have the same physiology. The Abrasive Bear said, refuge customer service is amazing. I got an awesome message from Bob about how my travel fac was going to take a while longer. I never inquired, but they just reached out because they are awesome. Love. Yeah. And I appreciate every one of y'all. Hurricane Helene threw a monkey wrench in our supply chain logistics for a couple of reasons. The first was a bunch of people from Refuge went and volunteered, and so we were short-staffed. And then the next is many of the companies that we wholesale our products through were negatively impacted by Hurricane Helene. Oh, the wonderful flow of blood. I'm down for Alex Jones for press secretary, says Adam Harris. Oh, we'll get there in a minute. So we've had some hiccups as far as fulfillment is concerned, but anybody that's had a hiccup, our team has reached out to, or is in the process of reaching out to just communicate with them. Hey, our bad, hiccups. What can we do to make it right? Is there anything we can do? Just let us know. We'll make it right. So, Alex Jones for press secretary. I'm pretty sure that Trump just basically looked at the playlist for the Sean Ryan show and was like, this is who we're going to hire. Dan Hegseth, I like him. We'll put him in. He's in. Tulsi Gabbard. She's cute. Looks like a skunk. She's got I like the skunk thing. Very aggressive. Good girl. I like her. Aloha, Oahu, Ohio. Yeah, Tulsi. She's in. I like Tulsi. She's good. Very good. Director of National Intelligence. Yeah, I don't, at this point, like, I think we're going to get Optimus Prime for Transportation Secretary, John J. Rambo for Secretary of Defense. Like, I don't. Are we just making shit up now? Like, is this where we are? I don't know if I should be excited or concerned. I just put it that way. I just don't know. Pureblood says cutie pie. Oh, you got the hots for Tulsi, Pureblood? Oh, Pureblood's got the hots for Tulsi. Check that out. Bring me the gun of Rambo, MC Uper. Yes, bring everybody the gun of Rambo. I think that's a good idea. All right, so quick rundown of who the Don has currently hired as of 12 hours ago, subject to change at any moment, as we're all aware. This is coming from MSNBC. You got Susie Wiles, White House Chief of Staff. I like her. She looks like a queen. She's got good hair, great hair, good smile, wonderful teeth. Stephen Miller, Deputy White House Chief of Staff for Policy. Good suits, this guy. Nice pants, many flags. Representative Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor. He looks like a raisin with a face. Tom Homan, Border Czar. He's going to build the wall. He's going to shut it down. We're going to be big, beautiful buses filled with immigrants. The families, they can go together. We'll deport everyone, basically. If you're not supposed to be here with the people, then you go back to Mexico. So Tom Homan as Border Czar. Representative Lee Zeldin, Environmental Protection Agency Administrator. I said, I want Zelda to come in. Find me Link to gallivant through the forest with a sword cutting through Environmental Protection Agency regulation. He looks like a robot, Representative Lee Zeldin does. Elise Stefanik, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Mike Huckabee, U.S. Ambassador to Israel. This is going to be interesting. The Huckabee pick, I think, is, as an evangelical Christian, is designed to reinforce to Israel how seriously the Trump administration is going to take its relationship with Israel. K. Todd says Brandon Herrera for ATF director. That has not happened yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it does. If I'm remembering correctly, Brandon Herrera said if he was made ATF director, he would come in there, slash all the bullshit, fire a bunch of people, and then just shut the agency down. And I agree with that. I think that would be great. Steve Witkoff, special envoy to the Middle East. John Ratcliffe, CIA director. Looks like the guy from The Office. So that's going to be fun. Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary. Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Director. I like Kristi Noem. As she's not my governor, never has been, but a lot of the things that she's said and done, I agree with. And so Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary. She's going to secure the homeland. One question, Kristi. Why in the Dakotas there's one tree, just one single tree? I've got to give Barron a sack full of tree seeds and Barron apple seed to go through the Dakotas and plant many beautiful trees, oaks and pines and no cedar, maybe chestnuts, walnuts, we'll see, avocados, desperados, poblanos. Dan Scavino, Deputy White House Chief of Staff. Senator Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. I don't like Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is another one of those guys with a face that just makes me want to punch it. Like if I was at a function and I didn't know who Marco Rubio was, he'd be one of those I'd probably be circling the room with. Like, let me go ahead and get a good read on this guy. He seems a little slimy for me. Nostradamus. I don't trust Rubio. He feels like a snake. Same. Uh, Action Jackson. He's a rhino. Yeah, same. Jupiter Mojo. I met him. He's okay, but now starting to become part of the machine. Yeah, I just don't trust him. I've met a lot of politicians, and that whole world is just not a world that I am designed to be in because it's so fake. There's so much posturing. There's so much quid pro quo. Everybody's worried about protecting their image and their reputation, and it's very what's the word I'm looking for here? Very superficial. There's a lot of facades that people are concerned about, and I just hate that. I just I'm like, what's up, guys? I'm here. This shirt is mostly clean. Yes, there's mud on my boots. Yes, I'm carrying a pistol. Yes, I have a tourniquet in my back pocket and Ziziote on my belt loops. And this beard is large and unruly. And I say four-letter words. Where's the open bar? It's basically, other than the open bar policy, the antithesis of politics. Um, and I'm pretty terrible at lying and don't really care about maintaining facades. Seven mighty cedars. No, must have cedars. No, I attack cedars with track hose here in Oklahoma. Uh, Very Hunger Game-esque. That's interesting, the tradesman. Yeah, interesting observation. So we got Rubio as Secretary of State. Tulsi, beautiful Tulsi. I said, do you want to surf in D.C.? And she said, Oahu, Ohio, Moana. And I said, what can I say except you're welcome. Director of National Intelligence. A lot of hay being made about that since she was on the Quiet Skies list, not essentially the no-fly list, but the pay special attention to these people because they could be traitorous insurgents list. And now she's the Director of National Intelligence. Being perfectly honest, I like Tulsi a lot. I'm not convinced she's qualified for that position, although I'd be happy to be proven wrong. Um, Representative Matt Gaetz, Attorney General. There's a lot of people up in arms over this. A lot of people making hay out of this. I said, Christy, she's gonna build the wall. We're gonna need gates, fences, poles, big beautiful metal poles with wire stretched between them, machine guns. But we're gonna need gates. And then Matt Gaetz showed up, and I said, well, since you're here, Attorney General Matt, you'd be a good general attorney. So Matt Gaetz. Now we have Matt Gaetz as the general attorney and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary of Health and Human Services. It just it just really looks like Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff for Trump, just went to the Joe Rogan playlist and the Sean Ryan show playlist and was like, they just started scrolling and they're like, what about this guy? What about that guy? What about this girl? So we'll see. Robert F. Kennedy, Secretary of Health and Human Services. Now, one of the interesting things here is that Joel Salatin has accepted an offer to be an advisor to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And I think that's super cool. Joel Salatin of Polyface Farms, who's an incredible person. His son Daniel's an incredible person. I've been to Polyface. I've got a tour of Polyface from Daniel Salatin. That place is awesome. Pilgrim, Bear, any idea when Grindstone will have more copies of scriptures in stock? Yeah, the turn of the year. The printer is printing more of them in December and January, and then we will get more back. We've given away so many copies of the scriptures that we exceeded the printer's expectations, and they are now playing catch up, which is awesome. So let's see who else we got on this list. Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General. Dean John Sauer, Solicitor General. Dean John Sauer looks like he was into like hardcore punk in the early 80s. Might have had like Liberty Spikes leather jacket. Doug Collins, Secretary of Veteran Affairs, former Georgia congressman, failed 2020 Senate candidate, has been picked to lead the Department of Veteran Affairs. Staunch Trump loyalist, blah, blah, blah. Doug Burgum, Interior Secretary, he looks like he got off of a catamaran in Florida somewhere, although he's the governor of North Dakota, former Microsoft executive. That's the current list as of 12 hours ago. And then, of course, we've got Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon over there at Doge, which is not actually a government position. It's an advisory position. So interesting things happening there. We have some national intel here sent into intel@bearindependent.com. We're going to read that in a moment. The show is in part brought to you by refugemedical.com. Refuge Ruckus is coming up. So if you want to come to our 3-day rucking event to raise funds and awareness for Caleb House, which is our counter-trafficking ministry, you can find that at refugeruckus.com. There will be speakers, presenters, live music. Chad Prather has agreed to be our master of ceremonies for the event. May have some other cool people up our sleeve working on getting First Form and Go Ruck to sponsor the event. So if you want to see them there, reach out to them on our behalf as well. For the Refuge Ruckus, that would be awesome. Yeah, we're going to have speakers and presenters on Friday. On Saturday, we're going to do a gigantic Bible study per usual. Then Sunday morning, we will do the Team Crunchy versus Team Creamy tug of war event, where Team Crunchy will absolutely slay those fools on Team Creamy. And then we're going to shoulder our rucksacks and march through downtown Fort Smith, Arkansas, and wave middle fingers at pedophiles while raising funds and awareness for Caleb House, which is our counter-trafficking ministry. So if you're into that, refugeruckus.com, there are early bird pricing specials right now for tickets to the Ruckus. And then there's also ticket packages for individuals, couples, families, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can check all that out at refugeruckus.com. And then we talked about tourniquets earlier. Right now, for the month of November, all vacuum sealed kits, including this one, which I opened on Wednesday, but would otherwise be vacuum sealed. The bleeding prevention kit, basic, intermediate, and advanced, the kiddo, the desk kit, and the slick kit, sexy legs and khakis kit, great EDC kit. You buy any vacuum sealed kit in November, 5 people will be selected who have bought vacuum sealed kits to come to Refuge training for free. Any class you want. The radio classes, the surviving womanhood class, the essential responder, any class we have in the store, you get a chance to come to class for free. And the vacuum sealed kits are very reasonably priced. We're talking $60 for this, the bleeding prevention kit basic right here. It's got a ton of stuff in it. It's got a real windlass tourniquet in it, a real one, Gen 7 cat tourniquet, legit, not made in China crap, a real one. A Sharpie so that you can draw on your casualty. Thanks for the super chat, John McMillan. An emergency trauma dressing right here, a big pressure dressing, a real pressure dressing. These are so much better than the Chinese bullcrap. I've showed you the Chinese ones on camera. They're trash. Ordered 2 intermediate kits Monday and they delivered yesterday. Amazing. The best. Thank you, J5PO. Real shears. Real shears. Like, I don't have anything cool to cut in here, but I don't have any fabric. Actually, I do have fabric I want to cut. You know what? Let's cut up this thing. This Chinese knockoff first aid kit. So this is a very thick 1500D nylon. Let's take our shears and just right through it. Real shears. Okay? Like, nothing to it. They're real shears. They will cut denim. They will cut leather. They will cut. Those shears are thick. Yeah, they are. Texas Sheep Lady, could you stage the tourniquet before sealing the kits? Yeah, you can actually select that option at Refuge Medical. If you want to stage tourniquet, we will stage it for you before we vacuum seal it. I mean, like, here's the Chinese pressure bandage again. Sensory here. This is the China one. It is exploded and fallen apart. Look, you can see through it. Trash. Just absolute trash. This whole thing is trash. They're air quote hemostatic gauze that's literally just nylon. There's nothing hemostatic about this. It's literally just nylon. That's all it is. And it's thin as shit. It's just nylon. It's trash. And this is what we're fighting back against at Refuge. This is not a first aid kit. That's a pretend make-believe piece of garbage that gives you nothing but a false sense of security. And in here, in the Refuge Bleeding Prevention Kit, we've got 2 packs of wound packing gauze. And like, I'll just show you one of these, okay? If you've never seen one of these before, it's got a tab here. Open this up like so, okay? And then we're going to squeeze from the bottom like a push pop. Push that out, okay? Now you have a block of gauze here, compressed. Get it in your 2 hands and just do this with it. Wiggle back and forth, wiggle, 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 and see how it starts to come up, come apart. Just pick at the top. Boom, gauze. This is 6-ply gauze, okay? 6 plies of gauze. Real gauze. Now, hold on. Show you the Chinese shit. Where'd it go? This is their gauze, the Chinese gauze. Rhino Rescue gauze. Okay. I don't know if you can see the difference, but this is thin. Okay. This is thick. Why? Why do I want it thick? Because I want as much volume of gauze to get inside the wound cavity as possible to pinch off the bleeding vessel. This is not to soak up all the blood inside of the wound and form a clot. If that's all I can get, I'll take it. But this is to push on the bleeding vessel inside of the wound cavity to pinch the bleeding vessel closed. This is to apply pressure. And the next time somebody's like, tampons are just as good. Hold on. So this is my first pull. Let me pull again. Keep going. There is 12 feet of gauze for wound packing here or dressing wounds in one package of compressed gauze. Okay. And you get 2 of them in the bleeding prevention kit from Refuge Medical. And then, of course, Mylar blanket to mitigate hypothermia, because it's much easier to prevent hypothermia than it is to treat it. And 2 pairs of gloves, because if it's wet and not yours, don't touch it. Very basic rule for life. So that kit is $60 at refugemedical.com. Very affordable. Makes a great gift this holiday season, and can fit in a backpack or a glove box, or you can get like a larger backpack and throw several of these in here and make a mass casualty kit out of it. You can stick one at the nurse's station, at the school, behind the coffee bar, and behind the pulpit at church. Like, just stick them anywhere. I've got one right here on my desk, says Jupiter Mojo. Hey, bro, me too. I got one right here on my desk. Refugemedical.com. Promo code is Bear Nation for free shipping. All right, bonus intel. Intel at bearindependent.com. My husband and I live in rural East Texas. About 5 weeks ago, we started seeing news reports about people stealing things from people's vehicles during the overnight hours. This has continued on, and it's become evident that it is more widely spread than we were initially aware. Our county, Van Zant, Sheriff's Office, and several surrounding counties, Hunt, Kaufman, Hopkins, and Wood, have all released warnings to their residents. This doesn't really sound like a big deal, except the Hopkins County Sheriff stated the men that burglarized the vehicles are part of a Guatemalan gang that has entered the country illegally. The men have also shot at a homeowner when he confronted them in his driveway. I don't know the homeowner's status, but we are staying vigilant. See, this is a good illustration as to why, like, you should have a mutual assistance group, neighborhood watch, your SHTF team, whatever it is. So, unfortunately, in this situation, if you had to post an overnight watch, you could, and it would be more than one person, so that you can fire and maneuver, right? Um, and then also have in your network the sheriff's deputies, because in the moment when things happen, they tend to happen very quickly. And so you can get them on the phone or at least call dispatch and be like, hey, we have a situation over here. We got 4 guys. They're in 2 vehicles. The vehicles are, white Chevy pickup trucks, 4 military aged males. They're wearing dark clothing. Their direction of travel is east to west, blah, 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 blah. There's 2 of us out here. We are wearing this. We are the good guys, blah, 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 blah. Okay. We have had not the same, but similar issues in the past. Dope fiends in the middle of the night deciding that they wanted to appropriate other people's stuff. Suffice it to say, this is the wrong neighborhood to do that in. And then also suffice it to say, the sheriffs were scared of us when they arrived. Yeah, we had to do a little deconfliction there because we materialized out of the woods in full kit with nods in the dark. And they're like, who are you? I'm like, we're the community watch. Okay. I was like, the guys you're looking for are over there. Go get them. Arrest them. Do that thing that you do. And then we just back into the woods. Just saying. Having friends, having capabilities, very good to go. Greetings from South Carolina. Here's a first-hand account of supply chain issues. This past Sunday, 10 November 24, I made my usual trip to the grocery store. I was stunned as I entered the store to see half-empty shelves. We recently experienced this because of our proximity to Hurricane Helene Ground Zero, but nothing notable is happening at the moment aside from the election, unrelated, I hope. When I asked my cashier, who is some sort of manager, what was going on, her answer was that corporate canceled one of their trucks and delayed another by 2 days. She also informed me that corporate has done this to all stores. I have not been to other stores to personally verify. Oh, that's right, Mad Kelt. How many of y'all are there? Enough. Okay, where do you live? Over there. Who are you? Community Watch. Okay, well, how many guys you got out here? Enough. Okay. Hopefully, boys and gerbils, we are past the point where we are dependent upon the grocery store to go once a week, twice per week, 5 times a week. That's a nice to have, not a need to have. Why did corporate cancel these trucks? I don't know. But supply chain, and I got to we need to revisit this concept. Just because Donald Trump has been elected, he's the president-elect. He's not in office yet. He may not survive till January, based upon our most recent previous experiences. If he does, the last time he was in office, we got COVID because the big they weren't very happy with him. And the economy that we have is still currently shit. Okay. The supply chain logistics that we have are still currently shit. So we are not out of the woods by a mile yet. So just bear that in mind. Jim, right? 3 months of potential BS, 30 million conscripts sitting idle. 100%. So stay frosty. We're in a very interesting period of time right now. A related note, at least 5 times in the past month-ish, at the 2 locations that I frequent, this chain has had an employee greeting shoppers at the entrance to inform them that their systems were down. There have been multiple nationwide communications infrastructure outages just in the last week, 3 or 4 that I'm aware of. The first instance, they were unable to use cash because their electronic safe was down. Electronic safe was down. Gay. The other instances have all been their card readers and processors were down. Each time they have used the phrase company-wide. This is very alarming to me for 2 reasons. One, there's no obvious cause such as a trucker strike or natural disaster. No, it's a cyber attack. And 2, this is a big-time outfit with nearly 1,200 stores throughout the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic states. P.S. I am not panicking as we have plenty of food stored, but it is nice to have certain fresh foods regularly. I agree. And our last bit of national intel, because you guys and girls have got to send more intel to intel@bearindependent.com, please. Been seeing caravans of military-aged Middle Eastern males driving brand new SUVs up through the Kansas City, Missouri area. SUVs are full, and peculiarly, I've never noticed anyone speaking, just gazing out the windows. Okay, so twas it I. Let's say I was going to be involved in an operation that was related to these SUVs. I would want to know things I would want to know. What kind of suspension do the SUVs have? Are they factory or aftermarket? What are the license plates? Are they same state, out of state, governmental plates? What are the individual license plate numbers? Do they have any increased lighting on them? Wig-wags in the grill, red, blue lights that blinky. Do they have antennas sticking out of them? Do they have running boards? Are the windows tinted? How many males are in there? What is their pattern of behavior? Where are they coming from? Where are they returning to? What areas are they driving through? When are they driving through these areas? Right. And this is KC here. I can attest to this, says Dana. Okay. So we need more data on the SUVs in Kansas City. All right. And this is the data that we would be looking for. How many SUVs? What color SUVs? Are they unitized? Do they all look the same? That's a huge indicator if they're unitized. They're all white Chevy Tahoes with tinted windows. They're all running this type of license plate, these wheels, these tires, these light bars, these antennas, and these locations. That's a huge indicator. Or no, they're not. They're all different types of SUVs. Okay, well then they're probably privately sourced. Okay, how many military age males in each vehicle? How many vehicles? Where are they going back to? I really want to know that. What's their bed down location, if you will? Where are they going back to? What does that look like? What's that location? When they park the vehicle, if they ever park the vehicle, does somebody stay with the vehicle or do they all dismount and go in? Where are they getting fuel from? What are these people wearing? How many people? If they're not speaking, has anybody observed them speak ever? When they get fuel, do they go inside to get anything? Or do they just stay at the pump? What are they drinking? What are they eating? Way more peripherals, atmospherics, way more descriptors. Shalom, ranches. Okay. Continuing. Never noticed anyone speaking, just gazing out the windows. I know about the trafficking issues that have historically been in this area as we are at a crossroads in America. I guess we'll find out if we're the heart. As a semi-retired nurse and EMT, my senses tell me we're in for a bumpy ride, so fasten your seatbelts. Need more info on Kansas City, Missouri. My daughter there, and I have to be in court on December 18th. So do I need to roll extra heavy? I don't know, Ben. I define extra heavy. If you're on Patreon, you should have watched the truck loadout video that posted yesterday. Define heavy. Now, I have a different job than most of y'all. And so there's 36 loaded magazines, 2 rifles, and armor in my truck at all times. That's not heavy for me. That's probably heavy for most of y'all. But for me, that's Tuesday. Just, okay, cool. Helmet, nods, plate carrier, bailout bags, sack of cash, radios, GPS, VS17 panels, smoke. That's normal for me. For y'all, yeah, it's probably pretty damn heavy for you guys. So I don't know. Um, and here's the other thing. See, I'm a known entity. Like the good guys and the bad guys know who I am. Okay, cool. Because I'm on camera with y'all doing this, 3 days, 5 days a week. Um, you're probably not a known entity, which means there's something too low profile, low vis for you. Um, because that gives you the element of surprise, speed, surprise, violence of action, right? There's something too low vis. Having the ability to go high vis, hard, hot, heavy, yeah, that's great, right? To ramp up to that, that's great. I have to generally stay there, stay at high vis, ready to go, because I'm a known entity. Again, the good guys and the bad guys know what I look like. Okay. You probably not so much. Belt fed, says Tactus Squirrel. Yeah, we got a belt fed, a live belt fed covering the front door at Refuge. Why? Because it's a publicly known address and bad guys. Um, so I don't know if you got to go hot and heavy in Kansas City, Missouri or not. I don't live in KCMO. What else? RefugeRuckus.com. We talked about that. CalebHouse.org. Caleb with a K, CalebHouse.org. If you want to support, if you're convicted to support our counter trafficking ministry. If you're not, that's okay. That's okay. Support something else. But if you want to be involved in the rescue and restoration of juvenile human trafficking survivors, come check us out. CalebHouse.org. GrindstoneMinistries.com. If you want to be on the next Grindstone deployment when we go punch hurricanes and tornadoes in the face and love our neighbor as ourselves, you find out about all that stuff at GrindstoneMinistries.com. BearIndependent.com's got all your swag and all of that. Oh, donde está? These guys right here, the Rock Infiltrators. I talked to Sterling at Covert Threads. He said that most of the large and XL had sold out, so they're going to add a few more to the large and XL, but there's still several mediums in stock as well, and I believe they've added more of the Covert Threads Rock Infiltrator Bear socks. So I want to say thank you to the Bear Nation for buying up Bear socks, because these are amazing socks. Trust me, they're amazing, Billy Blaze. These are the Covert Threads Rock Infiltrator socks. One time, custom run, embroidered bear logo on them. Super cool. Super cool. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. Should we try? Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Legs. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Yep. See, they look like that. Great socks. Awesome socks. I'm also a client, Sock Club for Men with the Bear socks. These socks are great. They're just freaking stellar. So if you want some of those, you can find those at covertthreads.com. And then, of course, Patreon is in the description. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's pray. Maybe YouTube won't cancel us this time. Maybe they will. Who cares? Oh, good morning, Heavenly Father, Yah. Father, thank you for allowing us to wake up today. Thank you for all of the things that we take for granted. Father, thank you for all of the people that you've put into our lives, the provision and protection and blessing that you provided to every one of us. Thank you for being sovereign over everything. Thank you that regardless of who it is that's elected or appointed to have some degree of sovereignty over us, that you are sovereign over all things, and that you are eternal and your will be made done, and that you don't make mistakes, and that you are not subjected to the curvature of space-time, that simply you are, and that you are good. And Father, that we can trust in you above all things, that whatever may happen to us, it is for your will, and that it is good. Even if it's painful or uncomfortable or inconvenient or just downright humanly terrible, that it serves a purpose, and that purpose is to bring us closer to you. Oh, Father. Father, there are people here that don't know you or haven't known you in a long time. Father, I pray that you'd minister to their heart, that you would knock down the walls of the defenses of their heart, Father, that you would speak to them. And if that's you right now that's listening and you're ready, just say this with me. Father Yah, I'm a broken sinner. I confess to you all these things. I want to be made whole again. I want to come home. Father, please forgive me. By the blood of Messiah, please forgive me. I confess Yeshua is the Messiah, and that I will walk in his ways to the best of my ability. Father, please teach me. Teach me how to walk better. Please give me a new heart of flesh and not of stone, that I might be obedient to you. Please pour out your Spirit on me, that I would be able to receive your word and discern good from bad. Father, please make me whole again. Father, please forgive me, that I might have an inheritance, that I might be part of the family again, that I might walk in abundance and in love for eternity. Father, Yah, please forgive me. What a beautiful day. Father, thank you for this time and for this opportunity. Thank you for making a way for us to come home again by the blood of Messiah. Thank you for the outpouring of your Spirit and for miraculous healing and for provision and protection and blessing. Thank you for relentlessly pursuing us and for being a good dad. Father, we love you. We praise you. We ask that you would just make your face to shine upon us today. I ask all these things in Yeshua's name. Amen. Love y'all. Have an awesome day. Do the things that matter and don't get wrapped around the axles on the things that don't. And if you prayed that prayer for the first time or for the first time in a long time, welcome home, brother and sister. Welcome home. Dad has missed you, and he loves you more than you could possibly comprehend. And he rejoices when his children return to him. So walk in that today and do your best to put a smile on his face and simply apologize when you fail to do so. What a beautiful day.